But first, let's talk about the latest with the so-called meme stock or Gamestop trade, whatever we're calling it now. And I do want to start with what's going on with silver, because that seems to be where now the Redditors have trained their attention, and they're talking about going long silver. We're seeing big increases for the ETF that tracks silver. You're looking at it there, SLV, up 9% here this morning. Underlying futures are also higher. The miners are higher. What's interesting here is that this is a lot bigger than GameStop. So there's some significant differences here. The physical market for the metal is something like $32 billion. So that alone is larger than even the peak valuation that GameStop got to through all of this. Also, more investors are long. There's definitely not as significant a short position in silver to get a squeeze on. Incidentally, one of those that is long on silver is Citadel Securities, which has been the target of ire on the part of some of those Redditors on that SLV ETF. As of the latest filing date at the end of September, they had 6 million shares. Citadel did. So that's 0.393% stake in that. So interesting here, some key differences. And, we'll see how this all turns out. Brian, I know that you've been watching the trade in those miners in particular as a sort of outgrowth of all of this.
Yeah, we're seeing the miners trade up here in the early going. Newmont Mining, Freeport-McMoRan, those caught a bid when we were coming into our morning meeting this morning. But I'm also watching, guys, where this money could be heading next. It's almost as if you have a whole gang of retail investors that have made a lot of money on a GameStop, a COS, a BlackBerry, and even Build-A-Bear the past 2 weeks, and now they're looking for the next target. And I just want to highlight the SPAC and new issue ETF, SPCX. That's catching a bid this morning, too, up 2%. And I wouldn't be surprised, in talking to some folks on the street the past few days, if the SPAC market is the next one to get the attention by these retail traders. Keep in mind, the SPAC boom was going on well before a lot of this recent trading, this frenzied trading activity took effect. These are companies that don't have a lot of history. They're easy to speculate on. They have great, they've offered up in a lot of cases very big financial projections for the next 5 years. I can't think of a better target, Myles, really, to go to after GameStop than a lot of these speculative SPACs.
It's interesting, Brian. We were talking about this in our morning meeting and sort of wondering, when does this energy end? Because this energy in the market, you can feel it. It is a frenetic day once again, and we're really going on day 7 or 8 of this kind of tone being out there in the market. It's funny you mentioned Build-A-Bear. Maybe a missed part of the meme rally last week is it was all about stocks that had B at the beginning. Bed Bath, BlackBerry, Build-A-Bear, that became part of the meme. Now, it kind of moved on quickly, but that was also out there too. And I think to your point about silver and now that big journal story about SPACs and about where does it go next, what theme have we covered more on this show than everything in the market happens faster and happens more these days, right? So you're really outlining this scenario where it's just kind of this energy will come and go as fast as the market can possibly tolerate. And I do think we're starting to see maybe something like the end game. And I'll say it this way. I will caveat it this way. Robinhood is clearly still under a lot of financial duress because of the settlement issues that we're going to talk about all through this program and probably over the next couple of weeks that have affected that company. Just as we came on the air, Public, another stock exchange that's trying to compete with Robinhood, said they're going to no longer be part of payment for order flow. Basically, they're going to try to change their model. They don't want to be gamified. They don't like the hot money retail flows that have resulted from this. And we are starting to see the businesses, the platforms that were used to unlock some of these market hacks, if you will, start to roll back already. And we're only like 10 days into this entire episode. And so I think when we start asking what happens next, I don't think it's just a rolling series of these kinds of bubbles and bursts and bubbles and bursts. You've junior silver mining stocks up 130% this morning. It feels like this game of musical chairs probably lasts a little bit less long than people maybe popularly think.
I wonder if some of it will be a factor of people just getting bored with it and giving up on doing this or cashing out of their positions. We'll see.